How do plants eat? The ingenious ways plants have evolved to obtain nutrients. When we think of plants obtaining nutrients, most of us picture green leaves soaking up sunshine. That's certainly true for the majority of plants, but nature is far more inventive than that. Over millions of years, plants have evolved a surprising variety of ways to get the nutrients they need to grow and reproduce. So let's take a look at these incredible ways plants have evolved to feed themselves. Some plants use more than one of these methods. Number 1, photosynthesis, making food from light. This is a classic method that we learned in school. Green plants use photosynthesis to capture sunlight and turn carbon dioxide from the air and water from the soil into carbohydrates such as starch and sugar. Other organic compounds such as amino acids, proteins, lipids or fats, and pigments are also produced during photosynthesis. These carbohydrates and organic compounds are used by the plant for energy and for building tissues. Different plants tweak this process depending on their environment, so 3 different processes have been observed. C3 photosynthesis. This is the default method used by most plants, like oaks, roses, and wheat, where the first carbon compound produced contains 3 carbon atoms. An additional process called photorespiration is required to remove some toxic byproducts. The stomata or leaf pores are required to open for this, which allows the loss of water vapor. C4 photosynthesis. This is found in grasses like maize and sugarcane, which grow well in hot, sunny regions. A 4-carbon compound is produced, which means photorespiration is not required. The stomata can close while carbon fixing continues, so retaining the water vapor. CAM photosynthesis. This is used by succulents and cacti, which open their pores at night to prevent the loss of water. CAM, which stands for crassulacean acid metabolism, is when carbon dioxide is taken in at night and stored in structures called vacuoles. During the day, when the stomata are closed, the plant can then release and use this carbon dioxide in photosynthesis. Without photosynthesis, life on Earth as we know it simply wouldn't exist. It's the foundation of almost all food chains. Number 2, mycorrhizal partnerships, getting help from fungi. Plants don't always go it alone. Most species form partnerships with soil fungi called mycorrhizae. The fungi grow tiny threads called hyphae that spread out through the soil, acting like extra roots. They're much better at grabbing hard-to-reach nutrients such as phosphorus and nitrogen. In return, the plant pays the fungus with starches and sugars it made during photosynthesis. There are different styles of this partnership. Arbuscular mycorrhizae. This is the most widespread partnership, seen in around 80% of terrestrial plants and in crop plants like tomatoes and wheat. The fungi form structures called arbuscules within the plant's root cells. These are crucial for the nutrient exchange. The fungi's extensive branching hyphal networks effectively increase the plant's root system. These hyphal networks, called mycelia, also improve the soil structure and health. These partnerships are often developed in low nutrient soils and in dry soils, increasing plant performance under drought conditions. An ectomycorrhizae. This partnership is common in trees like pines and oaks. These fungi form a sheath around the plant roots. An orchid mycorrhizae. This is crucial for terrestrial orchids, such as those from Western Australia, whose tiny dust-like seeds can only germinate with fungal help. Some mature orchids also require help from fungi. These mycorrhizal partnerships explain why some plants thrive only in certain soils or environments. Without their fungal partners, they simply can't survive. As an interesting side note, did you know that there are more fungi in Australia than plants? And that a large portion of Australian plants are dependent upon these fungi in a variety of ways for their nutrients? As another side note, the Western underground orchid, Rhizanthella gardneri, is the rarest orchid in the world. It grows underground in broom honey myrtle or Melaleuca uncinata, bush in southwestern Australia. Here it has a 3-way beneficial relationship with the Melaleuca bushes and its mycorrhizal fungi. This orchid grows, germinates, and sets seed entirely underground. It is thought to be pollinated by termites. And number 3, nitrogen-fixing friendships, calling in the bacteria. Nitrogen is essential for plant growth, but the form found on the air, N2, is unusable. Some plants have solved this by partnering with bacteria that can fix nitrogen. That is, they can convert it into a form that the plant can use. The most famous examples are legumes like peas and beans, and clover, but other examples include Australian plants such as wattles and Fabiaceae, such as the Davicia, Dilwinia and Canidia species. They form small round nodules on their roots that house bacteria called rhizobia. In exchange for starch and sugars, the bacteria provide nitrogen fertilizer directly to the plant. Farmers also rely on this natural fertilizer to enrich soils without synthetic chemicals. Actinorhizals, trees and shrubs, are a diverse group of non-leguminous woody plants that form a symbiotic relationship with Frankia bacteria. This bacteria allows them to fix atmospheric nitrogen in root nodules. Examples are elder trees and she oaks or casuarina trees. These partnerships are especially valuable in poor soils, helping plants colonize areas where other species struggle. These actinorhizal species are particularly useful as pioneer species as a result, colonizing harsh environments with poor soils and paving the way for other plants to grow there too. Number 4. Carnivory, turning the tables on animals. In nutrient-poor environments, some plants have developed an extraordinary solution. They eat animals. Carnivorous plants lure, trap and digest insects, and occasionally larger prey, to supplement their diets with nitrogen and minerals. Different groups have invented their own traps. Venus flytrap, Dionea muscipula, snaps shut when tiny hairs are triggered. Sundew's Drosera species use sticky droplets on their leaves to glue insects down. Pitcher plants, Nepenthes and Sarracenia species, have slippery leaves that form pitfall traps filled with digestive fluid. And bladderworts, Utricularia species, suck in tiny aquatic creatures with vacuum-like traps that are bladder-shaped. These plants still photosynthesize, but their meat-eating habit gives them the extra boost they need in bogs, swamps, and poor soils. And number 5, parasitism, tapping into other plants. Some plants skip the hard work of making their own food and instead steal directly from their neighbors. They grow special structures called haustoria that tap into a host plant's vascular system, that is the plumbing that carries water and nutrients. There are 2 main kinds of plant parasites. Hemiparasites, which can photosynthesize but still rely partly on a host, such as mistletoe in the Western Australia Christmas tree, and holoparasites, which are completely dependent and usually lack chlorophyll. Examples include dodders, Coscuta species, which form golden triangles over their hosts, broom rapes, are a banshee species, and witchweeds, Striga species, which are serious crop pests. And the 42 species of Rafflesia come from a genus of monster flowers that can be over a meter across. These plants have taken parasitism to the extreme, with no roots, leaves or stems of their own, only their giant flowers. Parasitic plants often have fascinating adaptions, but can also be agricultural nightmares. And number 6, mycoheterotrophy, cheating the fungal network. Remember the helpful mycorrhizal fungi from earlier? Some plants cheat this system. Instead of giving starch and sugars back to the fungi in exchange for nutrients, mycoheterotrophic plants take nutrients from fungi without giving anything back. Since fungi themselves get carbon from green plants, the mycoheterotroph is indirectly stealing from its neighbors. These plants often live in dark forest understories where photosynthesis is difficult. Many are ghostly white or pale because they lack chlorophyll. Examples include the Indian pipe, Monotropa uniflora, a hauntingly white plant found in North America, and several orchid species, like bird's nest orchid, Neotia nidus avis. And number 7, epiphytes, living in the air. High up in the canopy of tropical forests, many plants grow as epiphytes. They don't root in the ground but perch on trees, using them only as a support. They aren't parasites. Instead, they collect water and nutrients from rainfall, dust and debris. Some epiphytes have specialized structures in order to do this. Tank bromeliads, for example Gazmania and Acmea species, form leaf rosettes that hold pools of water, creating tiny ecosystems. Tillandsia species, often called air plants, are aerophytes that absorb water and minerals directly from the air through their leaf scales. And many orchids trap leaf litter and rainwater around their roots. Epiphytes make forests more complex and diverse by adding layers of life above the ground. So, from making their own food from sunlight to trapping insects, stealing from neighbors, or partnering with fungi and bacteria, plants have evolved an amazing range of strategies to survive in challenging environments. The green world around us is far more than just passive sunlight collectors or just the backdrop for animal life. Plants are active players in ecosystems, adapting to and creating resilience to harsh conditions and often preparing environments for other species to thrive. So how fantastic are plants? Well, that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments one thing that you found most fascinating about how plants obtain nutrients. And if you found the video interesting, please like and subscribe. I'll also leave a link up here and down in the description to another video you may find interesting on how plants move. Until next time, enjoy!